Jajajarasan, Jinja Mada, Duja Ponjamba, Surja Lambo, Davara Jibak, Shoja Jabu Jodong Janza, Durjan Janja, Delo Naroda, Mabamala, Jaja Gambo, Pamodaba, Javan Dogomba, Gajulama, Namja, Dajo, Dananda Zara, Danja, Lama Lava, Laya Jesus. Lozon Yundian Jamzong Alavan, Dendra Donjan, Bagala, Zo, Trenjan Zava, Lama, Jija, Gozon, Dojo, Yolanda, Doge Jolan, Buddha, Doga, Dumba, Don Zunjan, Jadon, Jajam, Wonder, Barajan, Jala, So. June, Tajuni Batini, Montenima Hugi. Kusum rang la lun chit pen driver hing mi ta mi do sang. Ta cherdang arang so pumbo san de sanje ngai dani ri du yore. Ri de tarang arang so ke de ha ko swa ina. Teni kantar tara kusum jirang yi. De ang arang so pen na sem de teni chuju ko rang yi. Teni longchu zubuk hibate chujuk randang kantar semj randang de longchu zubuk teni semla kharwa ke teni nawa kharwa tamji teni trubuk rangin du ta te ta ba he ngarang chok don de to go yore teni tena ke don de mato tamiri sunje rinwa
So then, picking up with number 12, it should read, to have the fruition of the spontaneously accomplished three kayas is essential. Or to experience the fruition of the spontaneously accomplished three kayas is essential. So generally speaking, are the five aggregates. The five aggregates are actually, in their true nature, the essence of, or that of the nature of the three kayas of Buddhahood, the Buddha's three kayas. And so to recognize that nature as such, the mind is understood, the mind itself is understood to be the nature of Dharmakaya, to be the Dharmakaya. And the Sambhogakaya is the self-radiance of the Dharmakaya. So that which appears as the radiance of the mind is Sambhogakaya, and the manifest appearances, the externally manifest appearances, are in their true essence the Dharmakaya. So in that way, it is essential to understand the nature of experience as the self-manifestation or the spontaneous accomplishment of the three kayas.
Kandar kusum hibate ngaran sola ranche suyu pe jumtsin de ko sem yu pe jumtsin ke chade yore sem de le los jurpe tene sanje da semjin sene kakale yo mare sem de ha ko ngo de to yo na sanje chade yore ngo ma to bokapsu semjin chade yore chondro yore.
And the reason why it is said that the three kayas are present within oneself, or present as one's own true nature, is because we have a mind. We experience the presence of a mind. And so actually the minds of Buddhas and sentient beings are not any different. if the essence of mind is realized or understood, that is Buddhahood, or that one is a Buddha. If it is not seen or recognized or understood, then that is the experience of a sentient being, the delusion of sentient beings.
So Simjin ta Sanje Chigzon to Chi Yang some of the test loyal Shonkapo Mando Jindote. Mune some of Chitana Hedang Penetaranga Julia Hedang Dang Ngajula Yubat Jamse Teni Nika Snak Semrindo. The Churanga Yobaka Tearang, Tridote. Tendab some down the number Sanje Bichu said the Mune truth Lamda Dimba, Lavada, Muni Dimba Redo. Madimba Tang around the Hako Mao Rimado. Emma Horan Risha.
So sometimes, this claim that sentient beings and Buddhas are actually one and the same is difficult to sort of like to digest. It actually sometimes doesn't really fit in our mind. We can't fully accept or make sense of it. But kind of an easy way to think of it is with regard to the potential of the mind. So, for instance, the anger that appears in my mind, and likewise the love and compassion that appears in my mind, both are manifestations of the mind itself. They are both within the range of potentiality present for the mind. And so it is really like this. The fact that there's a full potential for Buddhahood within the mind, that actually, because of that potential, we are no different in essence from the Buddhas, that the true nature of our mind is actually that of the awakened nature, the awakened mind of the Buddhas. It is just, it really is the case. It is simply that we don't realize it. We don't actually recognize.
Sanjik chute dimbarishas, Munetane, Mune Emahorishas.
And then thinking like that, we.
Just not some good ways.
So then you might think, or do you think, oh, it really is true what the Buddha says? That's Khenpo says, that thinking about it in this way helps to understand. Can you all relate?
That take me tummy bechuchate. Unity Husimare, that Jivutam, that Jukik did ni Hugins. Tajam Mayapo inside Damaris, that is song.
So then the next section then are the 11 marks of a holy person or an exalted being.
Tambote. Chado dang ajar chungan Jivutam batas. The Yuntin of Timber Yobatsangi Ndeke Yomare, Yuntin Timber Yobat the Zabzam Majena, then Najak Julan Rondo Yosh. Teni Chado Shibate, Rampunya, Yimpunya, Nika Geteri de Yoritens, Chado Jin Gadumi, si. Kaduna Solayang Chado Youth and Simana Magawa Chatsare. Tenainzan Tachiv Tamba Shibatela go Chado Chunjong, Naja Chunjong, Tanago. Yore, Sondwa.
So then, number 1 says, the reduction of jealousy and pride is the mark of a holy person. So first, with respect to pride, to have exceptional qualities or spiritual qualities alone is not enough. In fact, if one develops some qualities, but then if one is not cautious, very easily the development of such qualities can end up leading to pride. It can cause one to become prideful or arrogant. And so likewise, jealousy, if there are the conditions that cause one to become jealous, then if tiniti kongtati charoki korla yabo songmasong yabo komasong chirang kande songsong
chado jin la gadumis gabutu namyo yo maris.
So shimba te charo yokin la chune gagyo mare mi shimba.
Mare sosu sosola tipo.
Mare.
Sosu sosola tipo yo mare. Me gajo mare wa. Me ka to mare wa chado chi chu chado no me ya bore lap to mare wa.
Re yenda yen de chu yabo yo mare me changma samgaro wa.
Chama sang.
Di chungdi yo sare samsong. Yena yang cho denda te charo yo na soso kipo yo mare to da yo wa. Re. Sungsong e. Okay. So if one has, if one is somebody who has a lot of jealousy, one is always unhappy. So even though jealousy is sort of something that is in response to like somebody else, one feels jealousy with respect to someone else, and so in a way, through jealousy, the whole, one kind of wants the gain to come to oneself and the loss to come to another. But actually, it is the reverse. And whenever one is jealous, then one is unhappy. Jealousy is really a miserable mind state. And so for the person, if a holy person or someone who is really sort of spiritually developed or an exalted person, the signs of that is that they have very little pride and jealousy, or they have diminished pride and jealousy.
Tene ba de do ba chung xin ngu bo ngi ngu zam ji cho hi ba ne ji wo tam ba da so ta cho hi go ya de kar chim bo ri so re ta chiran zo ko nyong yu ji re bu la ke pa je ta lo ja zam ke ya mo lang ke pa je chung a re kong la gen dun chim pos kong tsin la gen dun chim pos ta boba inji shinkin tima tambori la gurida tene tsinrek la so ba timba kantar kong song do chukpo chan duktam ye urpo chan ne nga do so ta tonda kare risina chukpo tamji yudo risi Japan yu ne te song ma to ba nyarcha ma to ba biju lobar khorwa te donga teni urpo jo tamje ne ngala saya mi gunya mi se da donga ris tena song do ta te inza ta yakhu de garsin tene chohi jin de zamblen na mo sukju te chohi jin de cha de yorwa so chohi na ta te chubo cha de yorwa then jibu tamba cha do cho chi gu de chu den jik ni ga ni ya bo cha song
So then the second one is to have little desire and to be content with, I think it should read, the bare necessities is the mark of a holy person. So to have little desire and to be content with the bare necessities is the mark of a holy person. Contentment is really so important. As the great intellectual of Tibet, Gindan Chupel, who surely many of you have heard of, who lived 100 years ago or so, he was actually one of the very first to learn the English language and also to study a bit about science. He is known for having said, those who are wealthy are constantly distraught or tormented by the difficulties or struggles of the wealthy, and those who are poor are constantly distraught or lamenting about the problems of poverty. So those who are wealthy have the suffering of having, meaning they are always struggling, or there is not any contentment merely to be found in having wealth. Even if there is great wealth, then there's a whole nother set of difficulties that come along with that. One is struggling to or suffers to sustain the wealth, to gain more of it, to not, one suffers if that wealth falls into the hands of others, and so on and so forth. And then those who live in poverty suffer from the lack of having their basic needs met, not having enough to eat, not having sufficient clothing or basic necessities. And so they're suffering on both parts. So the best situation is to be one who has a sense or an attitude of contentment, regardless of one's situation with regard to wealth. So to be content with whatever one has. And that is really true wealth. If someone possesses contentment, then they are truly rich. And so this is also one of the qualities or the signs of being a holy person, or someone who is kind of exalted, spiritually exalted, to have an attitude to be content with what one has, to be content with whatever it is that one has. And that is a quality that such an individual it can be seen as a quality from both the perspective of a worldly sense, and also in the context of Dharma.
Tada gendun chimber ke zomi yore te so lor pe nimbo nandon sabo yore teni yunglo ayore.
So actually, the compositions of Gindan Chupel are actually, they're very beautifully written, and also really profound, or really deep in inner meaning.
Teni sumba de pa chur tang chinjing tang ajar mi pan jibu tang ta so. Ta de se gong de lan rao rao ji ri da zo chi 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 da da ajar mi ban rao ji cha de yo.
So then number 3, I think it should read more like to be heroic or warrior-like or mighty, without arrogance or putting on airs is the mark of a holy person.
And
so and Khenpo said the main thing here is the mark of a holy person is to be without pride.
teni ko da gandarache soso lejim de pambol yane lega kang le pa na tanda yong go yun ma to ke teni slo ni yang soso ya po yin don do che teni lemre so lo tsu chong ya po ma je na teni ndre mi pa rwa ten za ji tang ba shi ba de chun ju de ngo go me ba go ris.
So then number 4 says to not show off oneself and censure others is the mark of a holy person. It could also be read as to be without pretension or hypocrisy and deceit, or to not be two-faced, is the mark of a holy person. So if one using karma cause and effect as one's guide and holding to one's or keeping conduct that accords with the law of karma cause and effect, or that accords with one's understanding and trust in karma cause and effect, both inwardly and outwardly, is what is important. On the other hand, if one makes a display of behaving in a certain way outwardly, but then has no real regard for karma cause and effect, that is not okay. And so in this way, then, to be without pretension or deceit is the mark of a holy person.
Jawa Ganyang Da Yin Jie Ne Xi Yin De Dinbe Simbar Jiba Ne Jiba Damba Da Song. Da Din Xi Ge Jimba Toni Da Jawa Gang Zomba Yin Na Yang Din De Jiba Damba Da Re Song.
So then number 5 should read, to examine all actions, maintaining mindfulness and awareness, is the mark of a holy person. And so to always maintain mindful awareness in all of one's activities, to be conscious of and always examining or the state of one's mind and one's actions with mindfulness is the mark of a holy person.
Trukpa de lejum de making de yin sung an jiba tamba da so. Da lejum de so ga make the za chen bo yin ba this da gandar so make the sung job ji ba da za chen bo yin ba. De na ye lejum de te ta ba ji sung job thol na de ne to ba gan za de jiba tamba re so.
So then number 6 says to uphold the result of karmic action carefully, accepting the truth like that of protecting the pupils of one's eyes is the mark of a holy person. Another way to say this would be to guard oneself in terms of the laws of karma cause and effect as cautiously as one would protect one's own eyes is the mark of a holy person. So just like we regard our eyes as very dear to us or very important and precious, and we would, as careful as we would be to protect our own eyes, in the same way, the one who is really spiritually developed or a holy person has the same regard of conscientiousness, with a conscientiousness and caution with respect to the law of karma cause and effect.
Domba da tam la ngogo mi pan jiba tamba da so. Da domba tam ki ba de la so che yu so ke lemre pambo lo ya ne sung ya cha de yorwa o te ta ba che gore ma do ke teni yang ngogo ri sung wa ina teni domba tam kan yin jang za ma cha to go maris. Da domba tam che sung do ngogo mi par song go yore so da kai sena dom tam che sung ya de me yin ki chi de song do go mar so randong ki chi de song go yorwa domba tam che de le bu yong ding ge ding cha de yorwa Ta te ta ngoko mi par zo tsama tsa tanda churgin sung king ji kanza te ji tamba re so.
So then it says, it actually just says to be without hypocrisy in terms of one's vows and samayas is the mark of a holy person. So to uphold the commitments, the vows and samayas, without not with the objective of just outwardly expressing or outwardly maintaining the vows, because one doesn't keep the vows for others. It's not for others' sake that one holds the commitments and vows. It's for one's own sake. It's for one's own benefit. And so therefore, since the vows and samayas are like the very foundation of all good qualities, they should be upheld without any deceit or hypocrisy. And doing so is the mark of a holy person.
Jepa simji la nyereng sandro mi bana jiwa tambata so. Chadang ke dani tene tanyong jogo jute karchimbore tene chadang ke teren robo sarpa jera na robo ning ba pha yo tanda che suno ta te ndak mi chan jiwa tambak tanda nang marwa. Tanda so call hapo rita so ke lalin ta mata inza tene te sun jo sun ro ge er shog do.
So then number 8 says, without passionate or humiliating treatment, to treat all sentient beings essentially equal is the mark of a holy person. So actually in the Tibetan it says specifically without concepts of like near and far or close and distant, and without partiality to new or old friends, is the mark of a holy person. So to have an attitude of equanimity with regard to those who are distant and those who are near, or without a partiality, or to have an attitude of equanimity with regard to both loved ones or friends and enemies, and also to be sort of to have a sense of loyalty, and that one doesn't, for instance, have a new friend today and then enchanted with a new friend, just sort of lose interest in the old friend. So to have that kind of stability and equanimity towards all is the mark of a holy person. And so Khenpo said, these are all very easy to understand. They are much harder to actually practice, but because they're easy to understand, we just are going through them quickly.
Gabad yinje dek sokpa la khong motor king zupar chipa ne chibetamba ta so ti yin ge chu non tor chi do setela control chi chu ju tana ma je pa chi ne tani ram na kha cha ning je temena zupa gon tana tamna chibetamba res.
So then number 9 says to not become angry with others for their sinful deeds or for their own negativities, but to have patience is the mark of a holy person. So this is really the way that somebody who is really spiritual developed reacts with regard to the faults of others. When one witnesses faults in others, rather than sort of criticizing them, which is essentially an angry reaction, one actually feels compassion. One really feels compassion for the others' faults. One has patience and feels compassion.
Tani susuk hirap bichu tane yang te samba karpu don goni yang te nontor yosang ji tena chogrwa. Ta chubate.
No, the gupa, the sharap ke gone, the kare, the nonro yena labna de gyore sumimbe.
Yin ke nontor tong yundu teni susuk hirap bichu tane teni yin la ropa chi ne nontor mzo ya tena chi chori se te chene ya porwa. Chung ju yak tsabla.
Baso. So in place of actually criticizing others for their faults, instead, in that case, or instead with wisdom, or from an attitude of wisdom or in a wise way, helping others to see their mistakes, or skillfully pointing out the mistake, and helping them to correct their behavior would be a mark of a holy person.
Te pajer chirang madi chirang de chung ri ya sin zu mo zo gri lama sa chirang tata te la yambe
Je de la kosong
te na wa shari mari
de kongso ropa de gyuria de lega de nonro re yene yang tenda de lega yapo che akichiru ropa che
ta koran so non chur de chur do ya la talam yim ba to ni ta ropa chi chorwa o te churang chung ri lam na khuso lamsang ngoli chi thob marwa ta kan sin na khuso hira mandang ne te non chur chi ngorwa
So actually, rather than actually saying or pointing out their fault, because actually that wouldn't work, but instead to sort of steer, through skillful methods, to sort of steer them in another direction or elucidate another way, is what to do in that case. Because if one just points out their faults, then that wouldn't be received because there is a lack of wisdom or understanding there.
Ta chubate jaka tamje malatere chin pangka rangla lemba ne jibatamata tande chancho sen kanyam le cha da ro zo chi ki da yin jewa la siba la da yin nyam ba gom teni jin da yin jewa tani tena chi tomna te jibatam ba re so.
So then number 10 is to give other people all the credit of victory and to accept all defeat oneself is the mark of a holy person. So this falls into the practice of bodhicitta, in which one practices exchanging self and others. So first, one practices or trains in equalizing self and others, and as one progresses in that practice, or as that further develops, then one begins to practice exchanging self and others.
Chukchik ba samchu gangla yang jiktin ba yin da muntun ba ne jiba tam ba ta so ta dek dang dong kar sina jiktin ba tan je soso ke de ji te tambo soso ke pin te tambo sang go ri te ta nyamni nang kin tam je ke yin ke pin te tambo sang go yori tambo yin de wan do
So then number 11 is to possess thought and conduct unlike common worldly people is the mark of a holy person. So what is the thought and conduct that is unlike worldly people? The practitioner or the one who is really spiritually developed Unlike worldly people are focused primarily on one's own benefit, their own benefit and happiness, whereas one who is spiritually developed is primarily focused on the welfare and benefit of others.
Ore da te anju ke jiwa tamba ta chukje hyusimbare teni dara kan hie ji to so ke docho rawte teni jiwa tamba mai ba cha de yu zang teni so so ge jung dang yong tin ha ko thoni lander nang go yure.
And so this completes then the 11 marks of a holy person. And then, as it says, the opposite deeds of a holy person are the marks of an unholy person. So the opposite of all of these would be signs of one who is not spiritually developed. So properly identifying what are faults and what are qualities, then it is necessary to understand what to adopt and what to discard.
Da pimpa mi bi chu jo zon da so so sam no chen nang le cho ko rong ba yin na chu so ni sam no dang du pimpa mi bi chu jo de ting ko yo ba da ka re gang da gang yi.
So then the next section then begins the section on the 10 non-beneficial things, or those things which are not of any benefit.
Tambo jim lu la ning kor ta ram ro che jam mata jik par ngi be phim ba mis. Ta ngara zo de zubo ne da jima ke lu cha de yori ma so ta ba tin ba cha yo ma re tin de la ka che ge chi jip de tang che chone yong ya la ka che de che na ya nam chi kon jo wa ro de de ne phim ba yo ma ri so de da na ba kun de che tin ni xia mi ba le kan ro le de na de phim to yo ma ri so ra.
So then the first one says, this illusory body is perishable and certain to be destroyed. So it is not beneficial to give much attention to it and to serve this body. So the body, which is really illusory, like an illusion, is not at all permanent and lasting. And so to become very attached to it and to really sort of focus on be overly fixated on maintaining the body or sort of nurturing the body and the happiness that can seeking like physical or happiness or the temporary happiness of this life is not of any real benefit because it is the nature of change. It is impermanent and perishable, and so there isn't any benefit.
Tene ni ba de sansing nor la senna da napsim cham je jang rang chewen nang bar dimo la pa lak tong dun do we phim ba mi song do da de ngarang zo jung bo de da tham che la rang la da yu ba de la senna je ya kun cho lan chu ma ba mar ngin song la jin ba tang ma ba. Tani naksem zudu me yin la jopam jo yo ba te tani ngalande yo na samne naksem je de ba de de chol phimba che yo mar yo sin ka yin sina ta ngarang chu lu ta sem ni kha tan hen ro kap so tani ngarang chu ke de so khon ro sa ra ga mar wa.
So as it says, too much greed and avarice and regardless of one's greed for wealth and material things, since there is nothing you can take with you at the time of death, it is of no benefit. So the greed, or also sort of miserliness, sometimes it is just translated as to the wealth that one currently has, or greed if one has miserliness of one's wealth and possessions, and because of that miserliness, one doesn't practice making offerings up to the exalted objects of offerings, nor does one practice practice generosity by giving down to those in need or sentient beings, then it is of no benefit. Likewise, if one has covetousness, the covetousness is the mind that sees what others has, or that seeing the wealth and possessions of others thinks, oh, if only I had that, if only I could have that, and so there it is longing after or lusting after the wealth and possessions of others. Both of these two mind states of greed, miserliness and greed, or miserliness and covetousness, are not of any benefit, because whatever wealth and possessions or objects, nothing can go with you at the time of death.
Kangzang la kawa chini chik je ne tsik jan chewa nang par chik purun rohyo roya gordon be pimpa me song. Ta ngarang tso ke katse ta kar chimbo tanda katse tsik de no yang hiwe ne kapso kornen rosa yo mari si. Detan pa ya de ta na susu ke zukbo nde yang teni kornen rosa mi pa ma tse teni nama tam je ke chulo lo yong gerwa ngane tane rwa pena Jawo dawa ji nang jawo ke setakala yati churang sumbo yimba ka se matsama ke kuyap ji churang kambala lakba to kambala thuba to tara chi girwa yin yang churang hya chadu churang garo te ti jakang nang da yo mara pa kondo sa chi wo la byo girwa tharin sa ji la ngane tan ta tene ta pimpa chen sa yirwe ndwe song rwa.
So then number 3 says, the labor put into constructing beautiful palaces and mansions is not of any benefit, as one cannot continue to possess them when one dies, and one's corpse will be thrown out the door. And so this is really true, no matter how marvelous one's dwelling place, if one builds a really beautiful and luxurious home or palace for oneself, when at the time of death, there is really no benefit. There's nothing that one can take with one when one dies. Not only that, one will have to leave behind even one's own body. And one's body will simply, one will be tossed away. And so, for instance, even a king, during the time that he is king, he has a lot of importance and respect, and he sits on a high throne, and everybody pays homage to him. Everyone shows their respect. They touch his feet. But then when he dies, then he is no longer regarded as, no one wants to come near the corpse. They just, put it off in a far off place. And so there's even the body will have to be left behind. And so therefore it isn't of any benefit.
Ta jarpo shipen ro lang ari ma se pen na so ngarang la sang dana terwa tara chakala de sieke yore chikieke yore ta nga chikya charna da nga ro de yang pes na ka hi sa no leb yo ya ya ta nga chu chu hira ma ma de so lan de he ja ya mang bo ju do pen ngarang so kusung wa ta so ke kare sung ko yore zubo de song yore sena zubo de hetsa de an song ma da pa taran sa yo yudo de sem ne hira song ta mya ko so ke de ko song wa de jung ju ji men de ko so so ta tan da wa ji ra ko wa zu ko chunang ge le ga de da de re ga dar chi ta ro shi ra yo ma ko ha ke hi jing ni yang jung da wa ji yo te yo ba.
So not only, Kimbola said he gives this example of the king, but actually even in his own case, he's sitting on a throne teaching the Dharma. So when he thinks about it, at the time of death, where will his body be? Maybe it'll just, be buried under the earth. And so really, there's actually so many different ways, there's so much we could go into regarding these explanations, but because we're lacking time, he just wants to go through them briefly, but really there's a lot here in unpacking these verses or these lines. So really, if we think about, all of the lengths that we go to sustain, to nurture and protect our body, what is it all for? What does it all kind of lead to, or how, is there, if we really think about it, we can't really protect the body because the inevitability is that the final end of the body will be death, will be that the body is destroyed, and we can't really, by protecting the body, we're not protecting the mind, and so. Really, there's just so much useless activity that we engage in as the phenomena of samsara. There are so many lengths that we go to, so many efforts and activities that really, in the end, are rendered totally useless.
Jigding ke chawa tamje perna nangkan per jak ji na ji tipa na yirwa ja jigding pam persong se priya ge ji ka do ta de ka ya ra ge mewa kun chunang la ya de ta tan ra chi
ya po ko ma song ja gi ga re de
ja nangkan per de perji priya ji na wo me ba na des go te pa cher dang a pe de ya pun ne ma so ya ye ke ngoma ma sang ti pe de ya pun
jima da wo de jima
ti pe de ma so ta ye ba de go ye ba ba da cha wo la jam bu sem ji ngo bo jia zam ge po jan chu bu de so pin to en sa wa ke jik jang mi be pin ba mi si ta su su ge yang ga he ge nga cha wo nga cha mo yin ze be de su su ge je pan jo dang du chu dang de zam ma che ge chi su su ge rin tang ro yo ba tam je ya pa hala ma su mo le zong de je cha wo cha mo le yu da ja ya da ji hin de wa de chu ga su cha wo cha mo 그 소소 그 주보대야 주로를 용용 그러고 다 된다를 삼는 동안 주도네 이나 잠바다 제부터네 바장 야와이나 되네 그 제법값을 가르쳐는 맞은 레와체 지금 말봐 이제 딘데 삼네 되네 양 휴휴 대체소나 되는 소소 종류인도
So then number 4 says to give wealth as a token of love to the children, nephews, and nieces is not of any benefit, since there's nothing they can do to help one at the time of death. So actually, when we, often we regard our relatives with, so we place so much kind of we think, oh, my niece or my nephew, and we speak about them, with so much kind of attachment, really. But really, it's like with this sort of real reliance on relatives, and all of one's wealth and possessions are entrusted to one's relatives, kind of with great hope and expectation that is placed on one's nieces and nephews and relatives and so forth. But really, at the time of death, there is nothing, that regardless of our sort of the hope and expectation that we invest in our relatives, the end result is that at the time of death, they will just dispose of our corpse. There's nothing that they will do to help us. And so therefore it is not of any benefit. But of course that isn't to say that the love and affection that we hold in the mind for our relatives, when it is not bound by expectation and attachments, that is not without any benefit. But from a worldly perspective, to have a great deal of attachment and expectations, and to invest in one's offspring and relatives, then doesn't really bring about any real benefit.
Nhìn tang trò bộ là chế đông cái sim jin tang ngô song chỉ nhị chỉ chế chẳng rang hiệp nang bờ chích bờ trò mi den trò về phim ba mi ta thằng ngara cho dan nam niệm der thế này trò mo tham chế cái ngô song ya cái chi de cable cá chế giáp số cái chế wa cá chế trên na yang 대양 마다 바레스 thế này số hiệp cáp số thế này số chích bờ rồi ya mà to 나무다 로봇 단지 주랑냠도 용토그 말이스 용거 말이라 용 징나야 용야요 말이와
So then number 5 says to give much attention to the concerns of family and friends is not of any benefit at the time of death, as one has to die alone. So as we spend our lives in, placing great importance on our connections with family, loved ones, and friends, no matter how great our love is, no matter how much affection we have for our companions, our friends, and loved ones, this life is impermanent. The phenomena of this life is impermanent, and so therefore at the time of death we will all have to separate, and they won't be able to follow us. They can't come with us. Even if they desperately wanted to come with us, they would not be able to. We are all so all who those friends and loved ones will be eventually separated or will have to part, especially at the time of death.
ngala hira goya mando ngala jo hira goya mando ngal panjur hira goya mando te tanga ge pata chawon de sol tamje de ji yo gundo se ji so ro te pata chawo korang choyang tene mata bare korang choyang mata ba im jumsin ge de jo panjur chorang ge so ya ba ta chol kha tran ro go yore ta to chol sang ta na tene chendi ton da kable chimbo ja pala tun re chendo e song do.
So then number 6 is to increase the number of children, nephews, and nieces, as well as to give one's amassed wealth to them, is not of any benefit, as everyone is perishable and everything is destructible or subject to the nature of destruction. Some have the attitude of maybe not being so concerned about amassing wealth and resources for oneself, but they maybe are motivated by a wish to provide for their family, to leave some inheritance or wealth to one's offspring or nieces and nephews, to leave behind whatever one can to support one's relatives. So one might think, oh, I don't really need so much myself. I'm not that interested in having a lot of wealth and possessions, but I want to provide for my nieces and nephews or my children. But even in that case, if one leaves a great inheritance to one's relatives and then spends one's whole life, slaving away to accumulate more and more wealth to leave behind to them, they also are subject to impermanence, and they will, whatever it is that you pass on to them, they will also have to separate from. And so is there really any real reason or benefit to go to great lengths in this to provide for them, to spend this life going to great lengths to provide for our relatives and loved ones?
Ta kandar tsen de chawa thamche nge ta hi chen la cha chi gi ji chen de te nge char de lam mi te pe yim ba ji leng go te tan dik ke de ta ber ji ri te ti ke de tra char de churang ti khang ban lang ti na chi nyok ne che ne churang ra su na nge ser ra cham chi churang la te lam na churang rak sa re te de lan do si ti na yin chun nang ke ton ngarang so le ka kan je ba tan je mata ba yan ro ran yin ji ri ra ga ma re nim bo mi chen je te re ta chun nang ton nga so le ka le yong wa te dan zin lan de yor wa dan zin lan de le ka le yin du ko an de ni ko che chma la pin tho mi ta ta ko ran so ge ngar so chol lo yong ge yor wa ta sunam tan de tho ni dami ba tawa tan der thoni chanchu sem rumbo che tan der thoni le yong ba ina tin tin chorang hivni modela nam hi ta nyam de la sunam de yong yore nam hi ge ne ba na wo de yong su zo ba de sunam cha de yu du ta dewa jing ki hin kan le je ya dan san je ju gong pang de ya chama de ni yong ge yore wa de ni je ga re yong ge Digbu top de yong yore, digbu top de yong du, ta manyar wa tang in son la man pain ro yore. Ta de donga pan sa mi ba yong do ro. Ta donga mugo sewa ma to nga so donga go sewa te yong thop ka le kha bo wa. Sak par de ni bu donga so sam na ta wa na ta ra nga so tong ya na he ke yor wa zan ni mal. Te so na yong da nya wa donga re. To ngene ta na sam na tang. Goya chi risha then that to su te ke nga so go ma so te na ya ga sarwa
The pointless activities of this life are completely insubstantial. There's nothing to them. They leave behind really no trace. Just like, for instance, if Khenpo says he makes this sound, and it sounded like he had the tingsha or the bell, and it rings, it reverberates for a moment, and then it passes away. And once the sound has reverberated and passed away, there's nothing left to hold on to. There's nothing to find or identify. If he were to say, locate that sound for me, locate it for me here in the temple, where did it go? Even if he were to promise you a hunk of gold, if you could find it, you wouldn't be able to find it anywhere. And so it is with the impermanent activities of this life. There's no real product or real thing to hang on to in the end. Everything is the nature of arising and passing away. And so this is how it is, especially with the activities that we pursue in this life when they are motivated by self-clinging and grasping. So whatever activities that are motivated by self-clinging will only become will just be the temporary results that are the insubstantial or meaningless nature of samsara in this life, and they won't be of any benefit to us in future lives. Even our own body will have to be left behind. And so, however, whatever we do, whatever activities that we engage in, motivated by altruistic intent, with bodhicitta in the mind stream, anything that is done with some understanding of the truth of selflessness becomes a stream of merit. So even though we cannot bring any of the sort of physical phenomena of this life with us when we die, at the time of death, whatever merit, the power of whatever merit that has been accumulated will travel together with our consciousness when we go. It can become the cause for liberation in the bardo, or for rebirth in the pure Buddha fields, rebirth in the pure realm of Sukhavati. Likewise, whatever negativity that we engage in, whatever is done with impure or negative, non-virtuous intentions, then it can become the causes to drag us down to inferior states in the three lower realms and hell and so on. So what will travel with us as we leave this life is nothing but the imprints of our positive and negative deeds, our virtuous and unvirtuous karma.
Oh yeah.
And so
Then Dumbate, the Tsendi Dunda subdue the subject or subject Naritang Lenta and Sir Letapnus, the Lenta Lambezor Chinichi Jejang, Ranchiva number near Dandreva Tin Meet and Rove Pimba Miss. That send the Soso go Tengak Tengak Sachari, Techurang Sachari, the Gopiano, Jam Tandale Devaina, Hubukapso. Then so Joa Simalan and Churang, then it lose such a Yimba Lindo Matoti, such a Telu, Lion Lin, Togo, Tobing Nipa Yomari, then it send Delane, Nimaji Churang in Katando, Inza, Pinto Yomari, Sondwa.
So then number 7 says, the effort put into the acquisition of land, property, and authority for the maintenance of a luxurious life is not of any benefit, as one has to leave everything behind at the time of death. So likewise, whatever attachment that one has, any efforts that are put into owning land or gaining ownership of some land or territory, having property, building a house, and having some, estate or some a sort of established position or authority, all of this at the time of death will be left behind, since again there's nothing that can travel with one at the time of death. Eventually, no matter how much one puts or invests into building up or caring for one's own property or place, one day one will have to part from it. One will have to separate from it. So therefore, there's not any benefit.
Thank you. Jamba Baba Jadar Jamba Dangunda Zamba de Yen De Dai Gunja Juzo Dalo Jegawan de Da Dangera de. May every being ailing with a disease be freed at once from every malady. May all sickness that afflicts the living be instantly and permanently healed. Chanjo Zumjo Rumbo Je Maje Banan Jijur Je Jiba Nyamba Mebai Konda Konda Bewar Jo. Thank you very much.